This movie tells a story about a young man named Aren who's recruited into a secret society of magical black people who dedicate their lives to a cause of utmost importance, which is making white people's lives easier. First of all, this movie has a decent premise as it tries to explore today's race problems, highlighting the invisibility many people of color experience in the American workplace, as well as other challenges. Unfortunately, the movie doesn't understand that trope and the direction in which it wants to push the theme. In its attempts to criticize the magical black people, the movie instead undercuts itself. The movie takes a decent idea and do absolutely nothing with it. This is a movie constantly in search of a story to support that one decent idea. However, there isn't enough to support a feature-length movie. The moments of the film that work are when it drops the satire. It's a better film when it directly confronts race through humor without trying to make it into something magical. The world building is really hollow as the movie builds it to satirize a trope that becomes consumed by it. It lacks form, age, politics, coherency, and the grand vision necessary to build the fast world building. Despite all of the exposition, none of it has a cohesive structure, and by the last act, it exists as a backdrop. We don't get a real sense of the society, the scope of what they do, and how they began. Outside of learning that 100 black people are part of the group, we do not learn much else. The people in the society pull their power from one another, but the movie fails to explore the actual power structure of the group, apart from having a black woman president. The movie's choice to make its point by fictionalizing historical figures into members of the society and idols of the trope without presenting any alternatives makes anything it has to say empty. This is a film that occupies a world where radical black politics either do not exist or are not at all effective, as the film never makes mention of the historical black revolutionaries. When it's time to assert bold claims with backing examples, the film falters at nearly every turn. All the excitement built from exploring this magical society is quickly cut off to pursue a love story. The movie goals become unclear as its many attempts to call out the marginalization of black people, it frequently loses its way. Its insistence on adding a love story only confounds the problem. The story then becomes a bland rom-com, and the real story eventually is not related to actual insight into race relations. The main character is also a frustratingly thin character. For a film about protecting a community, there's nothing communal about it. The main character's emotional final monologue feels like a cop-out, especially after having sat through an hour of a bland rom-com. The movie feels hollow in the end as it undercuts the racism theme in its finale. It makes the very poor decision to cut down every point it makes over its runtime. Overall, it's not worth to spend time to watch this. We do not recommend this movie at all.